Good morning, everyone. Sorry about the wrong disposition of the camera there. In a little bit of a hurry this morning. Or I was in a little bit of a hurry before getting on here. I have a bunch of lighters sitting out in front of us today that I took pictures of yesterday to get listed. Also a few that we've been having as projects around here. Some that just refuse to light. A couple of them probably already run out of fuel. Hello, Mark. Glad that you are with us this morning. Anybody else who's in the chat, make sure and say hello. Let us know where you're from, what kind of coffee you're drinking this morning, what else you might be drinking. If you have a lighter project going on right at the moment, got our T-Man Zippo and the insert that we waterlogged last week. Got that all put back together. Good morning, Gary. Nice to see you in the comments section so often this past week. I think this one is probably out of fuel. Fuel life in this one doesn't last very long at all, but it also doesn't hold very much. We've had plenty to do lately after buying these few lots of Zippos and all those aluminum block lighters. We've got videos already in queue up through like December 8th, I believe, and still have plenty of stuff in there plenty of projects, plenty of lighters we haven't even touched. Instant coffee, huh, Gary? Or Mark? Are you like that stuff they used to advertise back in the 70s, the little crystals that dissolve in the water? Is that what you're talking about? I can't say that I've ever drank instant coffee. What do you mean by change the insert? Gary. Yes, I've re-wicked and re-wadded them. I've done that. I can't remember. Maybe I haven't done that in a video. I would have thought that I had. But I've got a couple in there, so if I haven't, I could make a video on re-wicking one of those. But also, you know, they're pretty much interchangeable. I've still got a lighter in there that I need to sell along with another lighter. I end up putting it together with another one to get it to be whole. So basically what it'll be is a working insert that'll come with two cases, and then will come with the original insert from the other case. That insert was sent to me by Dylan DePie. And if I remember correctly, I think he said before it came into his possession, it had also gone through the hands of Zippo Daily Fix and Zippo Fanatic 77. But anyway, it was rusted, the file wheel in that thing. You know, they have the lid attached to the insert, and I can't remember exactly what I did. I think I soaked it in the concentrated vinegar, and I think that's the one that once the vinegar took care of all the corrosion and rust and everything, but the plate that is held down by the eyelet that the wick goes down through also is what holds the lid on those Brown and Bigelow remembrances. And when the concentrated vinegar ate all that corrosion and rust away, it turned out that thin metal, like heat-treated metal spring that runs down through there, it was broke. So you can clearly see where it was just cracked all the way across. Anyway, so I'm going to do that in one of our penny start 100% to HDSA charity auctions soon. Hello, NFS America. Glad that you're with us this morning. Yeah, exactly, Gary. The lid is attached to the insert. So what exactly are you wanting to know about changing the wick and wadding in one of those, Gary? Now, good morning, Professor. Glad that you're with us. I don't think you were with us last week. I remember thinking as it was ending that I don't. Of course, maybe we had the same conversation last week too. Oh, you need to get the lid off. Well, let me go get. Remind me here in a second if I don't go do it, but hopefully I'll remember. Not like the chat is just burning up there. So when I catch up here on the chat, then I will go in there and grab that. I just saw them yesterday, and I'll show you how that lid is attached. Remind me about the 61 Slim NFS America. Said, just waking up for the day again, took a nap after staying up soaking and getting the flint wheel residue off on my new 1961 Zippo Slim. I thought you were talking about, maybe, was that a 61 or a 60? Is that a lighter you've already been using, NFS? And were you soaking it in concentrated vinegar, or I remember us talking about this in the comments a week or so ago. Did you just soak it in alcohol? I think lighter fluid would work pretty good too. Concentrated vinegar is going to work better than anything on most of that stuff, but it's also a little bit more, it kind of stains your hands, not necessarily color, but you can feel it. If your hands are in it for any period of time, it's kind of like your hands being in bleach. It's like you can feel its presence for a while afterward. Okay, well, glad that you're here this week, Scott. And if you're not able to be here the whole time, that's cool too. Glad you're able to join us. Hope that your schooling is going well. Oh, gotcha. You're saying the wheel left residue on your fingers from from where the old flint had adhered to it? Yeah, those, you can get those, brass wire brushes, or probably even some that are like nylon off of, Amazon pretty cheap. And that's what I've always used. I've got a bunch of brass ones. Well, I think I've got one left around here. I had a bunch of them. Probably need to order some more. But the isopropyl alcohol evaporates really quick. It's good at cutting, oily substances. So that's why I use it. I've never had any problem with it. But I hear people advocating the use of just regular lighter fluid all the time too, and I can't really remember. I don't know that I've ever poured lighter fluid out to use as a solvent. I think I've always had alcohol on hand. But it seems like the lighter fluid would work just fine. All right, well, I'm glad I was able to look in there on that yesterday because I knew exactly where these were. And I've already got one of those gullets. Oh, wrong end, I wonder if it was so hard. I've already got one of those Zippo kits with I think it comes with flint and fuel. Listed on the website, so I need to go ahead and do that. Those were sent to me from our friend Robert Hollingsworth down in Fort Worth, Texas, and wanted me to use those in those Penny Start charity auctions. So maybe I go ahead and do that first, and then the next one will be this. But here's turn that around. The working lighter, and obviously you can see there's plenty of corrosion, plating loss, patina, whatever you want to call it, but a nice advertising graphic. So what, about 3 or 4 colors. Does have scratches, scuffs, but then the case off the one that Dylan DePie sent was this Remembrance Advertising Insight in Mind. So this looks to me like it would have been to promote this product to begin with. Remembrance Advertising. This is an advertisement for this lighter. And well, maybe they had other stuff that fell under that. Maybe they did, desk calendars and Rolodexes and all that kind of stuff too. But that is, like you call it, when you asked the question, you said Brown and Bigelow Remembrance. That's what these are. Remembrance, Brown and Bigelow, St. Paul, Minnesota. But anyway, to get back here to what you actually asked me, this was the insert that went with this case. And I'm just going to auction all that in that Penny Start auction together. There you can see that spring. And then you can see the part under the eyelet is still there, and you can see rust underneath it. So I think probably what happened was that it was already broke but still being held into place by all the corrosion and everything. And then when the concentrated vinegar ate all that corrosion, there wasn't anything to hold it in place. But because of that, we get to look at this and see. I'd never seen a diagram or schematic or anything showing you exactly how these lids were held on. So you can see there like a little rivet that puts upward pressure on that spring, and then the spring fits up over the bar. So in order to take the lid off, man, I'd have to think about that one. You may have to make yourself a tool, a pick, or something that you can put pressure on that spring upward while sliding the lid back and off of it. And I'll have a look. I've got a giant tub of lighters in there, of literal junk lighters. So if I can find one that I could make an attempt. I don't remember, these lighters weren't in the 1954 lighter repair manual. I don't believe. Don't remember seeing them. Which, by the way, that will be tomorrow's video. That is already in queue. Is recently acquired a copy of that 1954 lighter repair manual and uploaded it to the website. So each page, rather than being in a abbreviated thumbnail version, you can see the whole page there on the sort of the repository page for that entire document. So if your device gives you the ability to zoom in, then you can do that from right there. But you can also click on each one of those pages and it'll blow it up to full size. All 150 pages. And you can access that all from, I think it's the second menu from the left at dependableflame.com, vintage lighters, and then has drop down menu and you hit 1954 lighter repair manual. Anyway, you'll see all that in the video tomorrow. But did I answer your question there, Gary? Does that help you out at all? Or would you like to discuss this further? Wait a moment for you to get back to me, and I'm going to catch up on the chat here. Yeah, that sounds awesome, Professor. So yeah, that also seems like an early break, an early end for the semester. Yeah, I don't know the NFS. I don't know all the particulars, technical stuff about exactly what the vinegar does. But it really, there's been a few times that I wished I had a camera sitting on them, sitting on it for a certain lighter, because I had it do some weird stuff, like growing something that looked like stalactites. Like growing rock formations. Excuse me. Okay, explain to me what you're talking about here, Mark. 10% cleaning vinegar. What I'm talking about, the concentrated vinegar I've used is 30%. I bought on Amazon. You said you're not sure if it's advisable to neutralize. What do you mean by neutralize? I have mixed the 30% concentrated vinegar with some baking soda and used it as like a, like a paste. I can't even really remember. I don't remember what I used that for and how it worked. It may have been to clean an old Zippo insert that had corroded strangely. But the majority of the time what I've done is just soaked it. Just used it to soak things in. And I think with a Zippo you're okay, but like Scripto View lighter, it'll eat right through that pot metal material that those Scripto View flint mechanisms, the tube is made out of. Good morning, Zippo Daily Fix. Glad that you have joined us. Yeah, that's me. Before I was using the 91% isopropyl, and this is all dependent on price, which kind of got wonky during and after the pandemic. But I've used Everclear too. And Everclear seems to work just about the same as the 91% isopropyl. Yeah, I hadn't thought about carburetor cleaner. I haven't even priced. Is carburetor cleaner expensive? What's it like in comparison? I think pint bottles of 91% isopropyl alcohol are under $4 these days at Walmart, like $3.90 something. Brake cleaner. Hadn't thought about that either. Yeah, maybe I need to go to the automotive store. Yeah, if I have, I might give one of those a shot. I've still got a pretty good amount of that bottle of concentrated vinegar, but next time I need a solvent like that, I'll try to remember. Yeah, I've had my eye on a few Nimrod pipe lighters recently too, Professor. One of them was being sold a week or so ago by Bill Calkins. I'm keeping an eye on his auctions lately. Yeah, they end up usually going higher than I'm willing to pay. That's pretty much that way for everything. That's why I tend to, everything I buy, or the vast majority of what I buy is in groups, big lots, rather than individual lighters. I also noticed on, I think it was on eBay, they have replicated the Nimrod pipe lighter in a silver tone and brass look. Looks like that same Asian-based company that did or that does the Thorns copies, the Ronson copies, all that kind of stuff. And is that the kind of Nimrod you were talking about? I'm thinking of the tube style, Scott, the The one that looks like a nut and bolt. But the other kind are really good too. The flip tops, those are really good. So yeah, Gary, I'll go look and see if I might have one that I can attempt to remove the lid from, that I don't have to worry about messing the lighter up. Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that. It's very possible that it could have corroded and then broke. Yeah, it was interesting to me because when I got the lighter, like I said, it had that other insert in it, but you couldn't move the wheel. Dylan, in a little note that he had included, told me it was seized up, and it was gunked up, I think was the word he used. So I soaked it in the vinegar, but before that the lid was attached. It didn't show any sign that there was anything wrong with the lid. So at first I thought that maybe that spring was similar to, like I said, the metal that they used in those ScriptoView tubes, because I know for a fact that concentrated vinegar will eat through that metal. But then when I got to looking at it, I think it was just broke. But yeah. Good point, Mark. What exactly is evaporust? I've never heard of that. I see people talking about using WD-40 for stuff like that too. Have any of y'all ever? To me, WD-40 is more oil. Excuse me, more oil than solvent. A tool set for Zippo style inserts to replace cam springs. Is that on Ali, like AliExpress? Mark? Is that what you're talking about? I've never used any of those parts, and I haven't even really browsed that much. But I think you see some of that same stuff on Amazon. Oh, that's cool, Professor. I guess you get squeeze it in a little bit more in a shorter period of time there. Hello, generic user. Glad that you have joined us again. Glad that you were with us last week. And to answer that question, do I believe that Zippo knockoffs like Penguin or Prince lighters are comparable in quality to Zippo lighters? I think that some of them are. I think for the most part, you got to look at it two ways. If you're a guy that likes to use them, are you talking about the quality as a usable lighter? Some of them are a little wonky. Seems like there's always too many holes in the windscreen. This Dundee has the same number of holes in the windscreen. And it's brand new, so I'm not going to strike it. But, yeah, this is a really quality lighter. Just about every way in appearance as the Zippo was at that same time. Try not to toss the camera over, across the room, pulling that insert out. You know, not marked as elaborately, as much details, but maybe the felt pad's a little thinner, not as good a quality. But in a lot of ways, I say yes, they are just as, or, you know, right there on par with a Zippo. That insert's a little bit, it fits so snug that it's a little bit hard to get in there. That's a really cool advertising lighter, though. I got the box for that one. That's one I'm hopefully get listed soon. You know, of course, the Parks are good lighters. We could probably argue whether the spring for the lid, it's sort of a brute force system that is probably not as favorable over the lifetime of a lighter as the Zippo is, but anyway, yeah, I think that there's a lot of those, what did you call them? Knockoffs like Penguin and Prince. I've owned a lot of Penguins. I've owned a lot of Princes, Conwall, Continental. There's a bunch of those Japanese brands from the 1950s, probably even 60s. And I'm not saying that they're all as good a quality. There's some that are definitely, the paint on some of those cigarette pack advertising lighters is not all that high quality. There's varying degrees of quality. Some of them have held up, others haven't. But they're definitely worth owning for the money. You know, you can usually get into those Japanese-made advertising lighters a lot cheaper than you can a Zippo. Okay, so Mark says baking soda neutralizes acid. It foams. So you just can't leave 30% on something that might corrode like that. I'm curious. I'm not following you exactly, Mark. You said baking soda neutralizes the acid, and I'm going to take it here that the I'm drawing a blank. We were talking about the concentrated vinegar. Is the concentrated vinegar considered an acid? And then what do you mean by you just can't leave 30% on something that might corrode like that? Something like the Zippo insert that I was talking about, or are you talking about putting it together with the majority of the time that I've used it, I haven't used it with baking soda. I did, like I said, one time. And it foamed, or, well, no, I don't think it did foam. I mean, it didn't come out. I had it in one of those little glass Pyrex cups, and it ended up just hardening in there over time. It was just kind of a white mixture, like a paste. I can't remember where I'd seen that. I think I saw that in one of the Facebook lighter groups that somebody had mentioned mixing it with baking soda. But like I said, I only did that one time. The vast majority of the time that I've used the vinegar, it's just been to soak something where I could not, either it had a corrosion or whatever on the case or some part of it, or a flint that I couldn't get to, or it was so hard that it wouldn't drill out. Denatured alcohol. Denatured alcohol is that not pretty similar to, well, no, I guess it's not similar to naphtha. That naphtha is a petroleum product, right? Does it act like, is it similar to petrol, denatured alcohol? It seems like I've seen that somewhere used as fuel or something. Yeah, the Sportsman, that's the tube style, I believe. The chrome, or I think a lot of them were made out of aluminum. Maybe it wasn't chrome, maybe it was like a polished aluminum. Gary, I'd have to look at whether I still have that broken Beatty jet probe. I cannot recall. Hello, Arp Henningsen. Glad that you have joined us. Mimdry, glad to have you with us. I don't recall seeing your name in the chat before. If you don't mind, let us know where you're from, what you're interested in. If you're drinking a cup of coffee, what you're drinking. Feel free to ask any questions. We'll be on here for another 45 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. Have to be off by 11:30 today. Have plans for lunch. But Gary, I'll have to look at that, see if I can find that jet probe and measure it. It seems like maybe I had tried to see, because I had one at one point that was, the jet was, somebody had already kind of wallowed it out before I got it. I believe the only Beatty jet I ever had that I couldn't get to work right. And it seems like maybe I tried to fit that beading wire in it just to see. But I have a feeling that beading wire may be a little bit thicker. It's kind of scary. Or actually, I mean, not scary, but just for that probe, I mean, I used it on, I don't know, I probably owned 20 of those over the last 6-7 years that I used that probe on before it finally broke. Of course, I don't know, it may be, that probe may have been made out of something, even though it's not, it, may be just as small as the beading wire, or smaller. It could have been made out of something that was stronger. Mimdry says they're from England, interested in lighters. Nice to get in this addiction at a young age. It's a fun hobby. It's an interesting hobby. It's if you're a tinkerer, then it's an endless supply of projects. Lighters that won't light right. Lighters that it seems like you ought to be able to get to work better than they do. But then the advertising and the different metals, and I just noticed this one yesterday. I put up a video on Facebook and a short on YouTube. I thought this was unmarked, but right there on the side it's marked "Made in France." And also, interestingly, after, I think it was like 3 weeks the last time that I filled this up, This lighter seems to get terrific fuel economy, and I wouldn't have thought with it just being a slipcase case and lid that it would seal off from evaporation all that well. It didn't have a whole lot of wadding. There was nothing on the back side, so I can't remember whether I used a cotton ball or the organic cotton, but I put some down the back, and then I think it was a cotton ball. So I put some of it down the back side of that tube and then used the rest right here. Anyway, way better fuel economy than a Zippo. Not even close. Hello, NAFTA. I'm glad that you have joined us. How's the weather in Tulsa this morning? Yeah, what do you guys think? What would be the best way to go about that? Something strong enough just to fit underneath there, to put upward pressure on that lid so that then you could slide it back off of that spring. A 40th formula the company had tried for water displacement. So, well, that tells me it is an oil then. Do you think it has properties to clean away corrosion, eat rust, stuff like that, Mark? Or is it just a lubricant? I think I've always been under the impression that WD-40 was just a lubricant. Yeah, also, O. Arp Henningsen, I really appreciate you and all the posts you've been putting up of your lighters over on the DependableFlame.com Facebook group. And I would encourage all of you to share as much as you want over there. Show off your collections. If you got stuff you want to trade, if you got a repair project you want to talk about, or see what some others what kind of insights you might be able to get from others in the group. The group has grown at a pretty good rate here lately. It's up over like 460 some people now, so a good chance if you got a question about a lighter, there's probably somebody in there that can answer it. But yeah, I really enjoyed seeing all your lighters and the different groups you put up, and several that I've never even had in my hands before. A few that I might not have even heard of. Tell us about the 100-year-old lighter, Memdry. So you're saying it was made sometime 1923 or earlier? I've had a few that might have fit in that category, and a few other. I've definitely had some antique. I had a solid gold cigar piercer. A few other items similar that were definitely older than flint lighters. Okay, Gary, you said I have a Primus stove pricker that is the same size. Remind me what you're talking about, and were you talking about to try to remove the lid with? Oh, okay, Gary. Hold on, let me catch back up here. I have a Primus stove. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, if I can find that, then I'll see if we can, see if I can help you out there. I'm not sure. I don't think I would have thrown it away, but I also don't remember seeing it. Yeah, it's nice in Oklahoma City too, NAFTA. It's getting ready to cool down, I think. It was 80 something yesterday, high is 80 something again today, but it's gonna be back down in the 50s tonight, and then a high in the 50s for the next, I think 60 on Friday, 50 something tomorrow. So I'm not complaining, it's all good. So it's the UL number 2 London lighter. Well, that seems very inexpensive for a 100-year-old lighter, Mimdry. You also, Mimdry also said it's a lovely lighter. It's pretty basic, but doesn't burn the cleanest. My mom doesn't want me to light in my room because she's a bit scared. Yeah, it's probably a good idea. You know, I've got a lighter in my hand or in my pocket a lot, and there have been once or twice where I have pulled it out and just flicked it to light it up for no apparent reason. And yeah, an open flame seems to make people nervous, especially if there doesn't seem to be a reason why you need a flame at that moment. But do you mind me asking, so you live with your mom, how old are you? And let me just say this right off the bat, regardless of how old you are, whether you're a child or an adult, I don't think that smoking cigarettes is good for anybody. Tobacco cigarettes. I don't think smoking tobacco cigarettes is, it's just not good for your health. You know, Gary, I can't remember whether I read it or had people suggest, but several people had suggested the cleaning tips for a welding torch. And I think I bought one of those, and I don't think any of those were anywhere near small enough. That jet probe is so small. The one that I was talking about that had been kind of wallowed out, excuse me, I seem to have a frog in my throat today. But that one that was wallowed out, you could see it with the naked eye. But I've had several of them that it was really, really difficult to see without taking a picture of. That you're just kind of, even using that probe, you're just kind of stabbing in the general area. Not really stabbing, but softly trying to probe it in there, but you can't really see the hole. Yeah, I would agree with you, Mimdry. There's a lot of other reasons that you can use a flame. And despite the fact, or not despite the fact, but something else to consider is that it is a nice little invention to be able to have fire readily available to you right there in your pocket. Or at least that's the idea. Pretty sure I fueled this lighter up yesterday. So besides just the collectible value or collectible appeal of, say, painted graphic advertising or engine turn designs, I don't know if that would have been a cat. Yeah, I guess with aluminum that would have been engine turned as well, or machined anyway. I'm not exactly 100% positive about that engine turning. You see it used for everything from like stripes that are machined in to like whatever you call those little patterns that you see on the inside cases of most cigarette cases, combination cigarette lighter cases. They'll have that engine turn finish inside the case. But yeah, there's plenty of reasons. I think it's a worthwhile endeavor. I think that it's something that a lot of people can get carried away with, and that's all up to your particular situation. Maybe some people have a lot of money, a lot of discretionary income that they can buy lighters with. There's one guy in some of the Facebook lighter groups that likes to talk about how he spent over $1 million on his collection. I'm never going to spend anywhere near $1 million on a collection of this or anything else. I just don't have that kind of money. I salvage everything, just about. Most everything that I buy, I mean, there are exceptions, but the vast majority of the lighters, especially the rare and expensive lighters that I've owned, have been bought in big groups where they were not individually identified, and you have to do the work of sorting through those and looking through everything and knowing sometimes just by one picture what's in there and whether it's worth bidding on. But it is a lot of fun, and I get just as much enjoyment out of the repair and tinkering part of it. As far as my own personal collection, I collect things that are like sentimental to me. I've got the Bob Dylan lighter. I've got lighters that, remind me of loved ones that have passed. But, I don't own a bunch of Zippos. I've owned some nice Zippo advertising lighters, but most of those, well, I guess all of those have gotten sold. But that's the beauty of it too. You got all kinds of people. You got people who are collectors who, they consider it sacrilege that any collector would sell any lighter. You got people who got into it to sell. That's how I got into it. I became a collector because I was fixing them and selling them, and of course I wanted to keep them all from day one, but wasn't able to the point now that I've got a small collection. I've got my Penguin Cygnus collection. Got a few Zippos, a few of those Zippo knockoff flip top lighters that you were talking about. But the vast majority of lighters that ever pass through my hands are going to end up being sold. That's usually why I bought them. But I get a great deal of enjoyment out of working on them, fixing whatever's wrong with them, clearing the flint tube, re-wicking them, whatever. And that's sort of what I do, is try to get them back in working order and document the process as I do it. Yeah, Gary, the Whirlwind is one of the better ones. And, Ronson lighters, the closed tank design, they're some of the better lighters as far as the problem of evaporation from petrol lighters. Sometimes it seems like it doesn't matter. A lot of aluminum block lighters, I think because the actual fuel reservoir is so small, they just don't last long. But flip top lighters the same way. But closed tank lighters, we can discuss whether or not fuel screw gaskets or O-rings make much of a difference, but they definitely, closed tank lighters, whether they have the fuel gasket or not, they're going to get way better fuel economy than a Zippo. That's why I was so surprised. This design right here doesn't seem to me like it should get any better fuel economy than a Zippo. But here it is, all these weeks later, still firing right up. Hello, Azriel. Glad that you're with us today. Are you saying that? Are you saying, Azriel, that the lighter that Mimdri is talking about was an early IMCO? Yeah, I can't even remember. I think I've got a can of WD-40 silicone spray in there. But I bought a 2-pack several years ago that came with that and a can of WD-40, and the WD-40 is gone. But I was just more thinking about wondering whether I've seen so many people talk about using it like a solvent. And it seems to me like that's going to make things worse. Oh, okay, so you got it, you found it would you buy it off of eBay or where'd you get it? And did you say you're located in England, Mimdri? Sorry, yeah, you're from England. Mimdri says East Wadoom Flam has too much money. His lighter collection is beautiful. Yeah, he's got a lot of lighters. I don't know about his financial situation. I don't know if he has too much money or not. But he does have a lot of nice lighters, and he also looks like he's having a lot of fun making his videos. So I really enjoy watching them. Yeah, Gary, good point. The hunt is fun. It can be frustrating, searching like online. You don't even have a new Cygnus lighter show up every week. If you're a Zippo collector, man, there's tons of Zippos being listed every day. But with Cygnus, there's maybe 50 of them on eBay at any given moment. But like I said, most of those that I bought were bought in groups of other lighters, larger groups of lighters, where none of them, or very few of them anywhere, were identified. Yeah, Mark says camping, hunting, fishing, firecraft, general crafting produces thousands of needs for lighters. You could forget about smoking anything altogether. The anti-smoking agenda just drives up pricing. Yeah, I'm not anti-smoking. I am anti-tobacco for sure. I spent years though smoking cigarettes and dipping snuff. So I'm not just blindly, I mean, I think that we all know it's bad for your health. I think I mentioned during last week's stream that I'm not certain that smoking marijuana, that the smoking component of that is as bad for you as smoking tobacco, because you have all the additives and chemicals and whatever else they put into the tobacco. But I don't think anybody would argue about whether or not tobacco cigarettes are good for you or not. Yeah, I haven't owned any really old IMCOs. I've had, what is the 6800, or I've had a few of them over the years, not a ton. Some of the squeeze lighters, and yeah, there were a lot of cool Austrian lighters made for sure. I would like to get my hands on some of the ones that I have not up to this point. Is this one of the IMCOs that's similar to like a like the Bowers slide sleeve lighter? Which pipe lighters are you talking about, Mimdri? The Nimrod tube style. I'll admit it is a little gimmicky looking. It looks like a novelty lighter, but it's a legitimate petrol lighter that works. I mean, it's a good design. Hey, Dylan, glad to have you join us. Oobla doobla. Talked a little bit about you earlier because we pulled out this Brown and Bigelow remembrance that you sent me a couple of years ago so that we could discuss with Gary how to remove the lid, which is, you know, when you sent that insert or sent that lighter to me, the file wheel was locked up, so I had soaked it in the concentrated vinegar, which revealed a broken spring, which ended up letting the lid come off. Got it from eBay. Yeah, there's some good deals on eBay. I don't know what it's like. You know, not. I think that I don't know this for a fact, but I think that eBay only shows you what you can bid on. So if a seller doesn't ship to you, at least the way that I view eBay, which is mostly through the app on the iPad, sometimes on the iPhone. But so I have bought from some international sellers here and there. We talked about that a few weeks ago. There was at one point a guy in South America that was offering free shipping somehow to the States. I bought, actually it was the short black Cygnus roller lighter that I have that is marked Super Cygnus on the bottom. That's the lighter I'm talking about. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know if, I guess what I was getting at there, lost my place in the chat here. Mimdri was, you know, I don't know if you being in England and me being in the States, if we see the exact same pool of lighters to choose from. I don't know exactly how that works, but I do know that when I type in lighter to eBay, I get and put that across all categories, it brings back over 500,000 results. So, yeah, there's definitely opportunities to buy lighters out there at decent prices on eBay. So the WD-40 did not oil up your file wheel, oh Henningsen? I'm sure that WD-40 silicone spray would, but or did you clean it with something else after you used the WD-40 on it? Yeah, yeah, you know, and the vapes, I'm sort of the same way with the cannabis vapes too, Mimdri. I live in a legal medical marijuana state, but I don't use the vape cartridge anymore. I have, and I mean, I've even, within the last 6 months, I've used one a little bit here and there, but I just think there's too much, like the cartridges that are used in those, the metals, and what that does, breathing those metals being heated up, and even with the nicotine or the marijuana, I just don't know that there's enough. The marijuana concentrate, I don't think that's going to hurt anything, but what really bothers me is the metals that you are breathing through or that are being heated up along with your concentrate in these vape pens. Yeah, nicotine vapes would be a whole other thing. You know, you have some of the same concerns, plus the tobacco or the nicotine. I don't know. So I guess it's when you're vaping nicotine, it's not a tobacco product. It's just pure nicotine. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's not as bad as tobacco, but I can't imagine that it would be too good for you. I've had some bad experiences with nicotine. I've had some bad experiences with caffeine too. Yeah, I agree with you. It's about the tobacco. And yeah, we can legally grow our own medical marijuana here in Oklahoma if you have your license. I don't really have the ability to do that where I live here in this apartment building. Yeah, and you know, Mark, yeah, you know, with pollution and all that, I don't know, you know, it does seem to kind of defy logic or even reason. This is one of those projects I'm talking about. Slider, in one of the videos that I made on it, it was lighting right up. And then other times it won't light at all. But lighting a fire and then inhaling it kind of seems to defy logic. Just saying. Yeah, well, I'm going to do that in one of the Start the Penny Start charity auctions back up here soon. And make that one of the auctions, Dylan. Basically the working insert that's just in a little bit better condition than the one you sent me. Not much. So it'll have 2 cases, and then I'll throw in the original insert with the broken spring along with the group. Hello, R.E.S. Santana. Tell me if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly or how I should pronounce it. I'm glad to have you with us. Do I know of any watches that are lighters? Yeah, well, more the other way. I know of, seems like just about every lighter has, at some point in time, incorporated a watch or a clock into the lighter. So yeah, there are Cygnus watch lighters or clock lighters, whichever you would call them. There's Dunhill clock lighters. There is what looks like a clock that's not, that fits on your wrist, that is a lighter. I'm trying to remember what the Comet, I think, was the brand name. So yeah, there's definitely combination watch lighters or clock lighters. And you're saying, Azrael, it sounds like what you're saying is that the ones that you have seen weren't from reputable clock companies. It was more the lighter. The lighter might have been a reputable, or are you talking about something altogether from, say, the Dunhill clock lighters or Touch Tip Bronson clock lighters? Are you differentiating between that and what did Arya ask? He said, or they said, watches that are lighters. And I actually can't think of a watch that was actually a lighter, but I can think of several lighters that were also watches or clocks. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, and I can see where alcohol would cut it, but it just seems, do you think that WD-40 has anti-corrosive properties, or does it seem to clean up the corrosion? Because like I said, you're not the first person that I've ever heard of doing that, or, seeing when people ask for suggestions in the Facebook groups, people all the time say WD-40. My only problem with that is, maybe something about it. Maybe the WD-40 helps eat away at the corrosion better than the alcohol does. Yeah, I don't know about the Chinese market. I don't know about anything newer. I just, like I said, I know the old. There were plenty of watch and clock lighters way back. Yeah, yes, I agree, naphtha. That's basically, I don't even use a dab rig anymore. I just use a vapor straw. It's good stuff. Yeah, good point, Mark. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think that's the main concern, and I buy into it because, like I said, I have from time to time used a vape, cartridge pen, and maybe a few other. Trying to think. Yeah, I've had some other similar delivery method styles or delivery methods that I've used, but I haven't used one for several months now. It's easy to forget about those things sometimes, though. It's nice, the vape pen offers you to have the really discrete access to pretty highly potent concentrate without, smelling up your car or anything. Okay. Yeah, I can see that then. I can see that with what you're saying about if it helps loosen up the rust and could help even lubricate some things. I think though, I think if you just sprayed the wheel with WD-40, I don't know, maybe the regular WD-40 doesn't have the same But I know that silicone spray, that silicone WD-40, it's like a spark inhibitor. No license required in New Mexico, huh, Gary? Are y'all a recreational state? Or do you have rec and medical? In Oklahoma, you can have 6 and 6. 6 seedlings, 6 mature plants, but you got to be a medical patient, which basically means that you're going to pay the state about $110 every other year, and also pay a doctor. So it's usually going to cost you under $200, around $160 total. You can have your medical card in Oklahoma. But yeah, I think ideally you got rec and medical. Yeah, ideally, I think it should be, I don't think you should have to have a license. I don't think you should, I think that there's so many other more dangerous things to be worried about. And if they'd loosen up the reins and let people grow on their own, then maybe you wouldn't have the problem with the black market that you do. I don't know. If you listen to them, they make it sound like the black market around here has exploded since we went legal. And I can see some of that, and there's definitely some licensed illegal grows. Seems like they're busting one every week. Yeah, I didn't know that Swiss Army had made any kind of butane lighter or anything like that. I don't really have any experience at all with Swiss Army stuff, Mark. I did notice on the Toledo Bend website the other day that the pins in this lighter are constantly wanting to back out. What was I talking? Oh, Swiss Army. I did notice an old lighter listed on the Toledo Bend VCO page the other day that was like, it may have had a nail file and scissors and had like 10 different objects on it, or 10 different tools. Yeah, you say it's called multi-spray. Is that the regular one? Just the old WD-40? Old Henningsen? I've used WD-40 a lot, working on cars and other things out in the garage with my dad. And we used carburetor cleaner. I can't tell you how many carburetors I've seen my dad rebuild. But like I said, from my experience with, I've used some WD-40 here and there, and it seems like once or twice really early on I got some on a firewheel and really had a hard time getting it cleaned up enough to where it would produce the spark it should. Well, now I can't remember what I was talking about, Mark. What are you talking about when you said they ain't worried about danger, they're worried about money? I don't know, Gary. They're supposed to have, it's all tested. So hopefully there's not anything being added to it. But yeah, you know, I used to be in some of the marijuana Facebook groups, and you hear people talking about, especially in the grow groups, talking about different pesticides and neem oil and things like that. Some people talk about it being common and fine and act like it's no big deal, and other people act like it's poison. So I don't know. I hope that the state's doing what they should, getting it all tested like it's supposed to. But I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot of confidence in their testing. But I think I do. I have more confidence in their testing for the contaminants than I do, say, their testing on THC levels and other cannabinoid and terpene levels. Glad that you joined us, Memdre. I'm going to have to go here in just a second too. So I appreciate you joining us. Hopefully you'll be with us again in the future. I mentioned earlier having videos scheduled out currently through I think December 8th, and I've got another couple shot that just need to be edited. So we're way ahead in the video queue right at the moment, but that's leaving so far every Wednesday open through that time to do the live stream on a Wednesday morning, hopefully. If something happens that I can't do it on a Wednesday, then you know, we may adjust that and publish the video on Wednesday and open another day up for the live stream. But for the time being, we're going to try it out like this. So glad that you've joined us, and hopefully you can join us again in the future. Yeah, you can pay some money for a Dunhill clock lighter for sure, Azrael. Dunhill are some of the best. You know, I've owned some good ones. I've owned, I think, four or five Dunhill Sterling lighters, a couple of lift arms, a couple of roller lights. They're really nice lighters. I love Dunhill lighters, but there's a ton of Dunhill lighters I haven't had. I haven't had one of the telescoping pipe lighters. I haven't had any of the clock lighters or anything like that. So, yeah, there's still plenty of the others, plenty out there. Gotcha. So just the regular old WD-40. Oh, the black market weed, yeah, I don't know. You know, I understand nobody wants to poison their customer. Weed is so mild compared to other substances. I can't imagine, you know, you hear about it, but, you know, the effects of fentanyl are so much greater than the effects of, you know, you can literally have somebody who is not THC naive that, you know, it takes a lot to really affect a person who, you know, smokes a lot or uses a lot of concentrates or eats it a lot. It doesn't take a lot to drive your tolerance way up. And then if you've got it laced with something like fentanyl, you'd know that immediately. So, I don't know. But yeah, I'm glad that we don't have to buy it on the black market. I'm glad that we have a legal medical program here in Oklahoma. And I hope that our lawmakers don't screw it up. Well, I appreciate all you guys joining us today. I would like to hang on a little bit longer, but I've made plans for lunch. So keep an eye out on YouTube. You'll get a video each weekday morning other than Wednesday. And also been trying to post some shorts. Keep an eye on dependableflame.com. youtube.com/current eBay listings, and I'll have several of these lighters listed soon. I've also been posting video over on Instagram and some short video on Facebook. So keep your eyes out for all of that. I appreciate all your interaction. And like we were talking about earlier with the dependableflame.com Facebook group, feel free anytime. Show and tell photos of your lighters. If you got questions, if you want to post things over there for potential trade or things you would like to trade for, whatever it might be, that's a good place to do it. Or the comments section. Communicated with Gary a few times this past week in the comments section of YouTube videos. It's kind of funny to me sometimes how when you really want a lighter to light, you just won't do it. But I appreciate all you guys joining us. Until next time.